answer, but let's go to Kisumu and Kakamega, where, of course, the junior stars are the shining light, qualifying for the semis with a 100% record after beating Sudan and, of course, Somalia. And Zita, I'll come to you. People have raised questions about Harambee Stars, but in the junior stars, we are seeing a lot of promise.
You know, the junior stars, as you look at it, it's being fed by the secondary school games, because most of the players who are there, like maybe few, 3 or 4, the one who is Kariuri, I think.
Tyrone Kariuri.
Yeah, he's in Rainbow. I think Rainbow FC. But again, most of this team is just fresh from high school games, and then now they're playing for the junior stars. So for me, I think they're doing very well. And as I said last week, let's just keep this team. Let's not after the junior games, that is under 18 CECAFA, utenda kutafuta mtoto but umesema ati hata we don't even know where he is. So let us just keep the team together so that we can have a feeding program to Harambee Stars.
Arocho, you're in Kisumu and you follow the game, but look at the tactical awareness of those boys. Look at the composure within which they pass the balls, even in tight spaces. Look at the build-up. This is something we don't see in the league, not even Harambee Stars.
It is true, and I'd like to echo what Zita said. This is just the product of the secondary school games. The kind of good preparation and the kind of good soccer we saw in the secondary games is now being exhibited. But I'm so fearful. The transition. The transition of these young boys into the senior team. Because most of these boys, with all due respect to the players, might not see the Premier League. How do they transit?
And that's
how do we handle our transition?
That's where the problem is. Where do we drop the ball?
How do we handle our transition? Because nobody looks at youth football in this country. We wake up one early morning and pick players from you don't know where. But of course, this here, there was where to pick. So we must handle our transition well. I'm once again on to the federation. I'm once again on to the stakeholders. We have to handle our transition well. How do we transit these young lads into the under-23? Are we going to have an under-23 tournament in the near future so that these young men can move can move from the under-18, transit smoothly into the under-23, and of course in the national team? I was so impressed to see my friend Firat in this tournament, because this is where you pick the young lads. And if you don't appear in this tournament, then why are you even the national team coach? Once again, Firat, good job.
Steve, you've followed grassroots football for so long, and Arocho is raising fundamental question, and that's my concern too. Adrian Kibet and all the players we're seeing shining here, and there are so many such talents at the grassroots. Where do we usually drop the ball as a country? Because if we had European scouts here monitoring, half of that team would go into Europe and develop and become big stars.
You see, I'm happy that Firat heeded to Arocho's call that come to the stadium. And you saw him.
To Arocho's shout.
Yeah, you saw him.
Yeah, he came.
I think now that is what he should be doing. But don't just go to a decorated, well-organized tournament like this one. Go to the grassroots. We held the secondary school games in Kakamega early this year, and the products that are on this pitch are from secondary school games. But again, as you said, European scouts picked talent from the Kenya secondary school games in Kakamega. Adrian Kibet, Kasavuli, I think another boy called Wamalwa. They are all in Spain. So how did our very own local clubs miss to scout in such a tournament? I'm talking about Gor Mahia. I'm talking about FC Leopards. I'm talking about Kakamega Homeboys. I'm talking about Arocho's KCB or Shabana or Kenya Police. You see, he has 3 teams. So we really need to talk to our Premier League clubs to invest in local talent. Chapadimba is going on. So many talents. I've not seen a Kenya Premier League coach scouting the talent on the ground. These boys will come out and go to Europe. And when Firat starts picking talent from Europe, you'll start asking, where did this boy play? He played in the Kenya secondary school games. He played in the Safaricom Chapadimba, but he was not seen by our Kenyan clubs. He was picked in Europe, and that is why you never saw him. So my challenge is to the football clubs in Kenya. If we want to rise, let us tap into this raw talent, because unfortunately, in the club football, money speaks.
Okay, and Zita is on standby, of course. There's one shining light in CECAFA Tani, and his name is Adrian Kibet. Zita, what do you have on that promising prodigy?